Hello and welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to the live lesson today. And I am excited about the lesson today. In today's lesson, we are going to be looking at famous lines from films that you can actually use in your everyday conversation with people. Look, on the thumbnail of this video, you have it's a quote from Lord of the Rings. It says, "Shire Baggins." That is not a quote. That is not a line that you are going to be able to use. It is very unlikely you will ever have or be in a situation where you have to say Shire Baggins. So that quote is not actually possible. But we have lots of really good examples. We've got some very good examples from Lord of the Rings. We've got some good ones from, well, Al Pacino, to be honest. Al Pacino has a lot of good ones, and a few others. So we're going to have a little look. We're going to go through. We'll see what we find, and there'll be some new language to learn as well. I'm going to give people just a little bit more time, and I'm going to share the video as well. Leondina says hi. Hi, Leondina. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. Right, I'm just going to share the video, and then we can begin. Okay, let me know, by the way, what films you like to watch. If you have any particular favorite films that you like to quote from as well. Right, let's see. Can I find today's lesson? It doesn't always come up for me, actually, on my mobile phone. I think that's probably why, at the moment, there's so few numbers. The video isn't appearing yet on YouTube, which is a bit strange because we are live. Maybe if I reload. Yeah, it's quite difficult to find, actually. It's a bit strange. We've got 3 people. I'm not surprised we only have 3 people at the moment, because unfortunately, it seems that this is being quite difficult to find. Maybe I need to be a little bit creative to find the video. Let me know how you guys are doing. At the moment, I think today's all right, actually. Here we go. Found it. Share, and okay, we should be good to go. Share with 1 and 2. Great. Okay. Evelina also says hi. Hi, Evelina. From next week, I'm thinking of changing the time of the lessons. I know that 4 o'clock now is, the weather's really good. Plenty of people are going to want to go to the beach. So I'm thinking of changing the lesson time of the YouTube lessons. I'm thinking maybe either sometime in the morning or around lunchtime. So let me know if you think there's a particular time that would be good for you guys to join in. I'm thinking either, I don't know, maybe 10. I don't know, maybe 10:30 could be an option. The alternative might be something like midday, 12 o'clock. That could be another option. So just let me know, guys, what time of day would be good for you guys. If needs be, I'll see. I'll try to create a poll, maybe on Facebook or Twitter, so we can see as well. So. Okay, right. We'll make a little start though, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to bring up the first quote of the day. Okay, right. Let's bring up. So the first quote is actually from Batman. The Dark Knight Rises, I think. Okay, and this quote is a quote that you can actually use. I can do a Bane's voice if I have some water. What I can do is, for instance, so the quote is, "Let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne." That's how you can do a Bane voice. But it's actually a really good one to know. Let's not stand on ceremony. You can also change this a little bit, such as please don't stand on ceremony. Amen, for example. It means you're telling the other person you don't need to be so formal. You can relax. Effectively, Arena says hi. Arena also says hi. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. So this is the first one. Ceremony. Please don't stand on ceremony, or let's not stand on ceremony here. So you invite someone round. They are being very formal, and you can tell them, please don't stand on ceremony, or let's not stand on ceremony here. Meaning you don't need to be so formal. You can relax. And that's what this means. You can relax. There's no need to be so formal. So that is a good one to know. So, and that's definitely something you can use in everyday language. Maybe when you invite someone over, maybe you meet someone at a bar. It could even be quite a good one. Even when you're meeting someone for the first time, you want things to be relaxed. Let's not stand on ceremony. Let's have a drink and relax. And that's what you can do. So it's a really good one to know. Let me know if you guys, by the way, you might find that ceremony is a hard word to say. And it's a little bit difficult. I'm not going to lie. It can be a bit of a difficult word. So how do we say the word? Okay. Well, the first thing is we need to know where the word stress is. Okay. So the word stress is at the beginning. So I'm just going to do it in two different ways so we can see. So it's ceremony. Okay, that's the other way of maybe writing it in terms of pronunciation. But we've got quite a few syllables here. And a, okay, ceremony, 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 ceremony. It's actually it's an sound, really. I think I should change that, actually, the way I've written it there. I think I can do that a little bit better. Ceremony. Okay, it's this sound that's going to be difficult. It's the schwa. Ceremony, 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 ceremony. Please don't stand on ceremony. Let's not stand on ceremony. Ceremony. Please, let's not stand on ceremony here. Okay, so that is the first quote that you guys can use. And it is a really good one. Let me know if you know any good lines as well from films that you think can be used. But we will always have a little look at the meaning. So let's move on to the next one. So let's have a look. So I would say, if any of you do like Star Wars, maybe you don't like Star Wars. Who knows? What I would say is that there are some very good quotes. And I'm just trying to find the one that I was looking for. Here we go. I think this next quote is actually quite a good one. So in this one, I think this is from Empire Strikes Back. And Yoda is, no, This is episode 1, actually. Yes, this is episode 1. Yoda is talking to a young Skywalker. So we'll have a look at this quote, and we can also ask ourselves, is this quote something we can use today, at the moment, to talk about some situation or that's going on in the world? So the quote is, I'm going to put on a Yoda voice because I think I can do a Yoda voice. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. So we've got this, fear is the path. Now, when you say the path, path has two words. Path can be one, either a physical road, or it can be the way, the direction. Okay. Ooh, direction, yes. So that's the first thing. So fear is the way to the dark side being some form of hell. Fear leads to anger. Now, what does this mean here, leads? If you use the word fear leads to anger, in this case, leads means takes you in a direction again. So fear takes you in the direction of anger. Anger takes you in the direction to hate, and hate takes you in the direction of suffering. So that's what this word leads to. That's what this word means, and that's why it's a really good word to know. Leads. If you want to use this in different ways, you can always ask, for instance, where does this path lead? For example, this would mean, where does this little road take you? For example. So these two words, path and leads, very good. They can be both be talking about something physical, but you can also be using it in terms of life journeys as well. For instance, there is a path to learning, for example. So you guys, some of you were in your country and then you took the path of learning a new language, which led you to getting on a plane and coming to Malta, for example. Let me know in the live comments. See if you guys can actually create some sentences, or try to create a sentence with either path or lead. Or if you are feeling confident, maybe you can create a sentence with both path and lead. Okay, but these are good words to add in to your dictionary. Last week, you all know that or the week before, we have looked at some words like homographs, for example, or homonyms. We have been looking at words whereby maybe the word has the same spelling, same spelling, same pronunciation, but can have different meanings, for example. So in case you're wondering what is path is a noun. If you remember yesterday, we looked at some words that end in th, the suffix, and that means it's going to be a noun. Leads obviously is going to be a verb as well. So that is another good one that you can use. Now, there is another one that I think that we can actually use at this point. Okay. This next quote that I'm going to use is something we can definitely use at the current moment. And this is very similar to fear, so which is why I'm going to follow with both of these over here. Because I think we can use them for a particular issue at the moment that is in the news, and we can talk about that as well. This is from Lord of the Rings, and this is the King Rohan in the Two Towers. It's just before the big fight scene, and he says, "What can man do against such reckless hate?" Okay, what can man do against such Now, the new word here that might be new to you guys is the word reckless. Okay, so I think at this point I'll just explain what reckless is. Um, Reckless is when you just don't think, um, you don't think of the result of actions. That's what we mean by reckless. You don't think of the result of actions, and then you have it tied with the word hate. So why are these two quotes, the one from Star Wars with fear and the one from Lord of the Rings, good lines to know at the moment? Why can we use them? Well, some of you might know that a really big topic in the news at the moment is the question of racism, especially in the United States. Um, it's been a big news as well in the United Kingdom. In Malta, actually, there have been some protests as well, to do with racism. So it is a topic that is in the news, and these are two lines from movies that we can use to actually. If you're having a conversation about racism, for example, these are two lines that you can actually use in conversation. Because at the end of the day, we can always look at the try and if we're having a conversation about racism, what certain things do we need to think about? Why might there be racism in the first place? And yes, maybe there is fear. Maybe there is fear. And we do know that fear leads to anger. Um, I think that's one of the things that we can use actually for both, whether someone is perhaps racist, while on the other side, if someone is getting very angry about it and ends up being violent about it, then you can see that maybe it started off as fear and then it's become anger. And then ultimately what happens, everyone ends up hating each other and which all leads to suffering in some sort of way. But what is it at its heart? Well, maybe racism can be described as reckless hate as well. Um, People are not thinking about the consequences, maybe, of racism in some cases, or they might not even know what racism actually is. So there's an element of being reckless, not thinking about the result of an action. So that is why these two quotes could be really good to use at the moment. So, guys, we've got some new words already. We've got path, we've got leads, we've got reckless as well. So we've got three new words already, I think, that we can look at. Let me know in the live chat if you want to try and use maybe one or two of these words, and you guys can give me your opinion on something. Actually, here's a question. I'm going to ask some questions in the live chat section, and we'll see what you guys say. So let's say, for instance, does fear lead to anger? Maybe that could be a question. Let me know, guys. Does fear lead to anger? Is it true? Let's say also, I'm going to ask another question. Let's go with this one. Is racism... Oh, what have I done here? Okay, so is racism reckless hate? Let's see what you guys say. We're all trying to use these new words, really. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why films can be really good. You can learn a lot of really good language. It's a really good way to improve your vocabulary, and then try and find an opportunity to actually use the words in conversation. You can actually create a game, by the way, guys. If you and your housemates all watch some films, for example, or maybe a TV series, and you all write down certain lines from the film, You can have a game whereby the game is how many lines from those films can you use in conversation. It's a really good one, and I do recommend it. In case you're thinking, oh, can that be a little bit difficult? Yeah, it can be a bit difficult, but pick your I would say choose your category of films and movies. I mean, even if you look at something like Lion King, for example, there's loads of lines in Lion King that you can use, for example. Let's see, for instance, what would be a good one from Lion King? I'm just thinking of the songs. That's the problem with Disney movies like Lion King. You think of the line and then you start thinking of the songs like Hakuna Matata. It's a wonderful phrase. It means no worries for the rest of your days. You see, it's very catchy. Actually, that's actually what we're thinking of, actually. The word here that we need to think of is catchy, meaning easy to remember. If it's catchy, it's easy to remember. So you do have catchy lines from movies. For instance, if any of you, I'm sure all of you have watched Gladiator. Russell Crowe's big line as Maximus is a very catchy line, where he says, "I'm Maximus Desmeridius, commander of the North, head of the Phoenix Legions, husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and I shall have my revengeance in this life." No, I'll have my vengeance or revengeance, one of the two. Vengeance, I think it's vengeance in this life or the next. Unfortunately, I didn't do that very well. Yes, it's vengeance, I think. I've lost my trail of thought. What was the other one I was going to say? There you go. Actually, if you forget, by the way, what you are saying in the middle of your sentence, what you can say is, I've lost my trail of thought. A trail is a path. A trail is a path, okay, a direction. And you've lost your direction of thought. So you're talking and then you were thinking of something, and you were probably trying to think of more than one thing at the same time, and you forget. Oh, that's a point. Now I remember. Yeah, you've got some other really famous lines, such as Taken. Taken has a very catchy line with Liam Neeson where he's on the phone and he says, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I don't have any money. But what I do have is a set of particular skills that I have perfected over a long, successful career. If you give me back my daughter, that will be the end of it. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you. Again, it's a very famous line. It's catchy. It's easy to remember. But that is probably a line that none of you, hopefully, will ever have to use. That would be worrying. Okay, guys. So let me know in the live chat section. Does fear lead to anger? Is racism a reckless hate? Can you think of any catchy lines from movies? I'm going to go on to another one here. And I mean, I do like Al Pacino. I'm not going to lie. I do like Al Pacino a lot. And he's got a lot of very, very good lines. Which one was it that I wanted to use? Oh, this is a good one, actually. Godfather Part 3. And here we go, Godfather Part 3. And this is a good one to use if you're playing anything, like a game maybe. Or you're trying to do something with some friends. And it's from Godfather 3. And it says, "Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in." That was my Al Pacino impression. I mean, the best impression I can do of Al Pacino is that one in Scent of a Woman when he says, hoo-ha! That's not a word, though. But yeah, just when I thought that I was out, they pulled me back in. This is actually, believe it or not, a quote, a line from a movie like Godfather 3 that you can actually use on a daily basis. But it depends on the moment. For me, this is actually when you're playing a game, maybe a card game. The context might be when you are losing and you think you're just about to lose, and then you recover and you end up winning, or so to speak. Evelina says, I like Robert Pattinson in Twilight. Robert Pattinson is going to be the new Batman, apparently. Twilight, I have seen some Twilight movies. I don't know any lines from Twilight. Evelina, if you know any lines from Twilight that you like, let me know. And we can have a little look to see if any lines, actually, I wonder, are there any good lines from Twilight that we can use? From Twilight, let's see, are there any good lines we can use? Let's see. I mean, I don't really know Twilight, to be honest. I remember watching it once. Oh, this is actually quite a good one, actually. Yeah, this is a good one. Now, and I can actually tell you where to go in Malta if you want to see this as well. So there's a line from Twilight that says, I like the night. Without the dark, we'd never see the stars. Let me know here, by the way, guys, is we'd here short for we had or we would? Let me know. If you want to see stars in Malta, you definitely can do. What you do need to go is you need to go to the countryside, north of the island is really good. Camino can be good. But if you ever get a chance to go to Gozo, and I do recommend going to Gozo, Gozo is a fantastic place at night to see the stars. There are lots of places you can go in Gozo, for example, where you are far away from most other people. And the stars at night can be really good. We're now into the summer. So if you do like, we call it, in English, the correct, I imagine it's going to have a very similar word to a lot of other words in your language, maybe. But in English, we call it stargazing. So there are some very good parts of Malta where you can go stargazing, okay? You can go stargazing. That's how we would use the word. If you want to ask, where can I go stargazing? You can see go stargazing. Those are word collocations there. Irina says, bright film on racism for me, The Green Mile and the background story of the movie. That is a very good movie, and you're absolutely right. It's definitely relevant. And actually, I think The Green Mile is a very good movie. It's been a while since I watched it. Green Mile, are there any good lines actually that we can use? Green Mile famous lines. Ooh, wow, this could be a very interesting one. Yeah. Okay, I'll have a little look at this one. There's some really good ones. Leondina says we would. Yes, well done, guys. That is correct. So I'm going to share this one from the Green Mile. We will look at some of the words here. Sometimes there is absolutely, so there's your adverb, absolutely no difference at all between salvation and damnation. Now, here we've got two nouns because you've got shun and shun, T-I-O-N. So that's going back to yesterday's lesson where we learnt about suffixes. So first of all, now it probably is going to have a very similar meaning to word if you speak a Latin-based language. Okay, so first of all, what do we mean by salvation? Salvation, it's actually it's very much a word that comes from Christianity, really, and it means effectively saving or being saved. It's effectively being saved. In its traditional sense, it would be being saved from God. So being saved by God. Got to get the prepositions right there. God from the devil. So being saved by God from the devil. Now, we can use that in everyday language today. Being saved by the good from the bad, so to speak. So if you want to put on a modern day interpretation, you can do that. But what is damnation? Well, damnation is obviously going to be the opposite to salvation. So the best way to think about damnation is, okay, at an extreme point, damnation would be, for instance, you end up in a hellish place, for example. But if you're thinking of the emotion side of things, you're looking at something that is maybe extreme anger, annoyance, which is to do with something maybe as well. For example, so these are nouns. So again, why might this be a really good quote today? Well, there is a phrase in English that summarizes this, which can be careful what you wish for. And this is because I think you see this a lot actually throughout history and even today. We can see problems in the world and we want to change those problems. We want to solve those problems. But maybe we need to be a bit careful. Just because we think we might solve the problem doesn't mean we will not cause another problem. Or for that matter, it doesn't mean that what we think would solve the problem will actually solve the problem. So in our attempt to make something better, we could make it worse. And in that case, we end up in this problem of maybe we're going towards something that we think might be our saving, our salvation. But in the process, we end up finding that we've actually led ourselves to damnation. Evelina says, can you recommend a film in the original English language? Okay, sure. I've got lots of films. What type of film are you looking for, Evelina? Are you looking at comedy? Are you looking at a drama? Are you looking at an action, romance? Or are you looking at a musical? Oh, if you want a good one, by the way, to learn English, it's a musical. It's an old film, but it's very good. My Fair Lady. I do recommend that. That's very good. It's actually very good for pronunciation. Actually, My Fair Lady. Yeah, I do recommend My Fair Lady. If you're learning English, you need to watch My Fair Lady in English. It's very good. And it's actually quite a good one to learn English to as well. It's got some catchy songs because it is a musical, and it's quite good for helping you with pronunciation as well. Other films I might be able to recommend. I think this one might be good. Might be quite good. I'm sure you might have watched it in your own language, but if you're trying to watch it in English, it can be quite a good film to watch. It's what we would call a romantic comedy, to be honest, which is pretty good. Bridget Jones' Diary. Actually, what is it? I probably got that wrong. Actually, I'm not the. I've seen these films before, but yeah, it is Bridget Jones's Diary. Okay, so I see what I got wrong there. Okay, yeah, I got that one wrong. Oh, so Bridget Jones's Diary. Okay, there we go. Evelina, you are looking for an action film. Okay, a good action film that could also be quite good in terms of English. So, there's a few. I've got a few ones. Okay, I'm going to give you a few. Some might be harder, some might be easier. Let's see, what could be a good one? Okay, let's go with this one if you're looking for action. First of all, I would say now, this one here, and there's a reason why I'm recommending it as well. If you like James Bond, Live and Let Die. Now, why Live and Let Die? Roger Moore, who plays James Bond, his pronunciation in English is probably the best, one of the best, actually. Another one named Timothy Dalton, he was only in 2 James Bond movies. But Roger Moore's English is, in terms of his pronunciation and how clear he speaks, is really good. And Live and Let Die is a good James Bond movie. Another very good one that I do recommend watching in English is Matrix. Now, why am I saying that? There are some aspects of Matrix which are very good in terms of listening. In particular, Morpheus. So I can't remember the actor who plays Morpheus, but he speaks really, really clearly. He speaks clearer than the actor who plays Neo, Keanu Reeves. He speaks clearer than Keanu Reeves, but Morpheus is actually very good in terms of his delivery of lines. Oh, I've just remembered another one. Okay, this is excellent, but you need to have subtitles on, definitely. V for Vendetta. Now, this is a very good movie. It is V for Vendetta. The quality of English in this movie is really, really good. There are some there are what we would call big words with lots of adjectives, but if your first language is grounded in Latin, you can probably still follow some of the words that are used. But there's a good amount of action. The storyline is very good. And the guy who plays V is excellent. He's really, really good. He's the same actor who plays the agent, the bad guy in Matrix, the one who likes to say goodbye, Mr. Anderson. He's got a very clear voice when he speaks. So those are some good ones. I think I'm trying to think of some other ones that could be quite good. If you like action and you like series, I do recommend 24 with Jack Bauer. That is entertaining. I'm not going to say the English is they speak with a really clear voice because they shout a lot or they whisper. It's a bit strange, actually, but that is entertaining. I think, though, the best action film I can think of, though, is Saving Private Ryan. I think in terms of films and action, I think that's one of the best ones. If you want something I'm going to think of one more. Heat. What am I saying? Heat. With Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Oh, that is such a good movie. That is such a good movie. I really recommend it if you haven't watched it. Lots of good lines. Actually, there are a lot of good lines in Heat. The storyline is very good. You've got two fantastic actors. I think actually, Robert De Niro, actually, we have to mention Taxi Driver. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it, but Taxi Driver is really good. If any of you like psychology, I do recommend Taxi Driver. But Robert De Niro, a young Robert De Niro, plays a guy who used to be in the army. He's now a taxi driver in New York, and he has some mental problems. And you can just see him slowly. I think Taxi Driver influenced the film Joker a little bit in terms of how they tried to tell the story of someone's mental health getting worse and worse. And there is a famous scene where Robert De Niro is talking into the mirror, and he says, he looks like, the word is when someone looks with their eyes like this and aggressive, the word that we would use would be, what's the word? Yes, scowl. That's it, a scowl. He has a scowl look. It's a good verb to use. So, scowl. For instance, you could say, "Don't scowl at me." He scowled. It's a regular verb. He scowled at the man. Okay, so scowl. Your eyes. You're looking angry, and your eyes get smaller. That's a scowl. I am trying to scowl at the moment. I'm not doing a very good job. But he looks into the mirror, he scowls, and he says, "You're talking to me? You're talking to me? There's no one else here? So you must be talking to me." And that is actually a line you can use as well. If you go to Parcherville, you might end up having to use that one. Imagine that. Yes, you go to Parcherville. You go to Parcherville. Someone starts to try and talk to you, and maybe there's a problem with this person. I don't know. Maybe the person took your drink. You can turn around, scowl at them, and go, "You're talking to me? You're talking to me? There's no one else here? You must be talking to me." That's a good one. Yes, you should definitely try it. Actually, everyone should try and use that. I'm going to finish off with another one, guys. It's from one of my favorite films. It's in English, called With Nail and I. It's a very old movie, but I just have to tell you of a fantastic line, okay? The question is, can you use it? Okay. You have to be joking. You don't want to say this line seriously. Okay. Okay. This you should use with a friend. If you and your friend both like wine, then you can tell each other this line, okay? It's a very good one. The line is, "We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now." Okay, so what do we mean by the finest? The finest simply means the best. Humanity obviously is humans. Okay, it's a fun line. I do recommend it. But don't say it seriously because it is rude. But if you say it to a friend, then that's fine. So there we go, guys. We have looked at some lines that you guys can use in your everyday conversation with friends. Yeah, I do recommend definitely try watching some films in English and always trying to learn some lines from the film. It's a very good way to learn English. Evelina says, okay, thank you very much. These days, I'm also listening to bands like Muse and Tom Odell. Okay, Muse is brilliant. I don't know about Tom Odell because I haven't heard, but Muse, I really liked old Muse. In fact, you know what, guys? I think one thing that we can do is maybe today we looked at film lines from films that you can use in everyday conversation. I think one of the things we can do next week maybe is we look at some famous, we look at some music, we look at some lines from music, and we see maybe what they mean, and if we can use them in everyday conversation. I know the level of today's lesson was probably quite high. If you were of a lower level, you might have found this lesson a little bit difficult. So on that grounds, I do apologize. Don't forget, guys, if I speak too quickly, just let me know in the live chat section. So thank you so much for joining me today with the live lesson. I hope you all enjoyed it. Feel free to look back and see if you can find anything in the live chat that can help you. And I will be back tomorrow, same time. And let me just remind myself actually what is the topic for tomorrow. I've actually forgotten what we're looking at tomorrow actually in the language. And tomorrow, guys, we will be posting another short video. This time it's going to be for upper intermediates. Don't worry, we will get round to other levels slowly. So tomorrow's lesson is going to be on how to break the ice in English. There we go. Okay, got some really good phrases lined up for tomorrow. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for watching. Everyone who's commented in the live chat section, thank you very much. Make sure you like the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much, Evelina. I'm glad that you enjoyed the lesson as well. Bye for now, guys. See you tomorrow.